And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a defender. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to sacrifice everything, his fortune, his sacred honor, even his life, for liberty and something called inalienable rights that he cannot see but knows he cannot live without. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to ride a horse through sleepy towns in the dark of night, sounding the alarm, entreating neighbors to take up arms against an overwhelming force of wicked tyranny. So God made a patriot. God said, I need someone who, even after crushing defeats, rises up and stands tall. Someone who hears the clarion call that these are the times that try men's souls and does not shrink from the trial. Someone who will cross a frozen river in the dead of winter, when all logic and reason says turn back, abandon hope. So God made a patriot. Then God said, I need a man who knows of the rise and fall of great nations, who knows of human nature and the corrupting influence of power and the fragility of liberty. I need this man, along with his like-minded brethren, to write an enduring constitution. So God made a patriot. God said, I need a person, one person, who's willing to do whatever it takes, even write a book to confront injustice and spark a movement that would tear apart a people so that chains will rightfully be shattered and a blessed union eventually emerge. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who, with the love of family and for the love of country, will cross a vast ocean and storm a heavily fortified beach. And, if he survives, charge through 200 yards of bullets and blood across that merciless beach. And if he survives, scale the towering cliffs. And if he survives, begin the long march to free a continent. And if he survives, return home and, with the same resolute determination, rebuild a nation, and someday be called the greatest generation. So God made a patriot. I need a man who will speak the truth to his own leaders, that in order to preserve our great nation, we will not sacrifice the well-being of future generations for the sake of our own. Someone who will tirelessly toil day upon night, no matter the setback, no thought of surrender. Someone who will prayerfully rise every morning to climb the wall as a defender, duly endowed with the honored gift of generations before, while offering a solemn promise to generations ahead. A defender who will ensure that the way of truth and the torch of liberty remain forever lit in this shining city on a hill. So God made a patriot.
We met Corporal Witsman in May of 2011 when the community threw a welcome home party for him following his first deployment to Afghanistan.
This is overwhelming. I had no idea.
At the time, his mother, Kayla, reflected on U.S. military personnel still serving overseas.
We feel very, very blessed that he was one of them that got to come home. Many injured, unfortunately many KIAs. Just couldn't be happier. So we're very proud to have had our son over there. Very relieved that he's back.
A Covington Marine receives a surprise homecoming from family and friends. Good evening, I'm Nicole Kahn. Thanks for joining us tonight. Dozens of people gathered on the courthouse square in downtown Covington to welcome home Lance Corporal Joshua Witsman. News Channel 18's Aaron Leedy was there and has more on the surprise welcome. Aaron, what was his reaction to all of this?
Witsman had no idea this was even being planned. His mother says his homecoming is the perfect Mother's Day gift. The signs in downtown Covington said it all. Welcome home. People of all ages waited patiently to greet a hometown hero. Flags waved as a procession of Covington police and fire trucks made its way through downtown. Among the sirens, cheers could be heard as Lance Corporal Joshua Witsman rode by. Witsman returned to the U.S. from Afghanistan 2 weeks ago and is now returning to his hometown.
This is overwhelming. I had no idea.
Complete surprise?
Yes, it was.
Family, friends, and community members stood on the courthouse square waiting to hug and shake the hand of someone who fights for their freedom.
You can sign your name.
Many people wrote messages of thanks on a banner. His mother and father couldn't be more proud of their son.
Oh gosh, this is great. I couldn't believe it. I'm still in shock, and I appreciate everybody coming out.
Witsman was with the Dark Horse 3-5 on the front lines in Afghanistan. It's a group his mother says has made a lot of history during their dangerous mission.
We feel very, very blessed that he was one of them that got to come home. Many injured, unfortunately many KIAs. Just couldn't be happier.
Becky Lewis and Patty Gritton organized the homecoming. It's something they think all those serving our country should have.
I think that all the troops deserve recognition for coming home. Of course, we love Josh more than most just because we know him, but I think all the troops deserve recognition for the hard work and the effort that they put in.
And Witsman will be home for 3 weeks before returning to Camp Pendleton in California to prepare for his next deployment. Over the next few weeks, he says he plans to relax. Aaron Leedy, News Channel 18.
A Fountain County native is killed in action. Good evening, I'm Jeff Smith. Dan Klein has tonight off. A United States Marine from Covington is killed in action in Afghanistan. Lance Corporal Joshua Witsman was on his second tour of duty there, and a family friend says he was looking forward to continued service to his country. Britain says Witsman was redeployed to Afghanistan about 12 weeks ago. His family was told he was killed around noon on Wednesday.
He was looking forward to getting out and starting a family with his new wife, and he wanted to go to the police academy and get into law enforcement and ultimately go into being a conservation officer.
Witsman was married the week of Thanksgiving last year. He leaves behind a wife and 2 stepchildren. Lance Corporal Joshua Witsman was 23 years old. Funeral services are pending. Flags fly at half-staff on the lawn of the Fountain County Courthouse in Covington in honor of Marine Lance Corporal Joshua Witsman. Fountain County Clerk Patty Gritton knew Corporal Witsman his entire life and says his dream was to serve his country.
He didn't know what he wanted to do after high school so much, and he tried other things, and the Marine Corps kept calling him. He was an awesome person. I mean, obviously he gave his life for us.
On to tonight's top story. 23-year-old Lance Corporal Joshua Witsman of Covington was laid to rest today. Witsman was killed in the line of duty on May 30th during his second tour in Afghanistan. As News Channel 18's Krista Henry reports, hundreds of community members and even strangers came out today to honor Witsman and say their final goodbyes.
Those who knew Lance Corporal Joshua Witsman describe him as a leader, but most of all, a true American hero.
He had a lot of pride in his family and his school, the athletic teams, his community. So when I found out that he was going to be a Marine, that didn't surprise me at all. I knew the kind of pride that Josh would show in the work he did.
Marilyn Hankins was a former high school coach of Witsman. She says she never stopped thinking about the 23-year-old Covington native since the day he left for war.
Each day I drive the same route to school, and when I pass his home, there's a banner that talks about Josh, and each day I would pray for Josh and his family.
But on May 30th, Hankins' prayers turned to tears when she heard that Witsman was killed in Afghanistan while fighting for his country's freedom.
I just finished praying for him that day about 2 minutes later, and I got a text from the school from my sister here, and she said she just heard that Josh wasn't living now, and I really found that hard to deal with. It broke my heart.
While those who knew Witsman mourned the loss of their hometown hero Sunday, hundreds of others who were complete strangers to Witsman came to honor the fallen hero and to pay their respects.
I know that there's a possibility someday it could be my family in there, you know, sitting in that gymnasium, watching my casket be shut, and hurts me to think about that.
It's just important for me to say thank you and to show my support and to pay respect for for an American soldier.
Hundreds of Patriot Guard riders also lined the outside of Covington Community High School Sunday, holding American flags high in honor of Witsman.
We love our soldiers and the Marines, regardless of our viewpoints on the war, or against or for the war. We're here because we had a fallen hero.
Hopefully it will ease some of that pain to know that they are well loved by us, and that's why we're here.
And now, as Covington community members say goodbye to their fallen hero, they say through memories, they'll always keep Joshua Witsman's spirit alive. Krista Henry, News Channel 18.